Rich bio. It all starts from zero.
I think you and your engineers have done a great job. You've not only retained the outstanding features you put into our 1932 Dodge cars, but you've gone beyond what I expected could be accomplished.
Thousands of United States automobile businesses have failed to get off the ground in the last 120 years. Few brands from the early days are still in existence. Dodge Brothers are one of the few that have been creating news for 106 years. If you've ever wondered how the Dodge Brothers got started and the challenges they encountered, this is the most valuable movie you'll find on the internet. John Francis and Horace Dodge were born in Michigan in 1864 and 1868 to Daniel Rugg Dodge and Maria Duval Casto, respectively. Their oldest sister Della had 2 children from a prior marriage, and their father had 2 children from a prior marriage as well. Daniel Dodge had taken over his father's boat engine repair company, and John and Horace had grown up working with him in the shop in Niles, Michigan. John and Horace began working at machine shops such as Murphy's Boiler Works and Windsor's Dominion Typography Company. The family relocated many times, including stays in Battle Creek and Port Huron before settling in Detroit in 1886. In 1896, the Dodge brothers and Frederick Evans formed the Evans and Dodge Bicycle Company. The ball bearings created and patented by Horace Dodge made the motorcycles very unique. Because the ball bearings were dirt resistant, they didn't clog or cease operation. Soon after, the Dodge brothers returned to their machining origins. They began making parts for stoves, but as the new sector grew, they swiftly turned their focus to car parts. They sold their stake in the firm for $3,700 4 years later and launched their machine shop the following year. Even as component manufacturers, they were regarded as the finest. They won significant contracts from the Olds Motor Vehicle Company and the Ford Motor Company to design engines, gearboxes, and axle frames. During a period when horse-drawn carriages were still ubiquitous even in Detroit, brothers John and Horace Dodge were eager to create horseless carriages. They were never satisfied and always wanted to try something new and more prominent. In the year 1900, they opened a machine business and quickly supplied Ford with practically all of its moving components. Henry Ford chose the Dodge brothers to furnish a wide range of components for his initial Model A, including the whole chassis. Ford needed to add the body and wheels to complete the automobile. In exchange for $10,000 in merchandise, Henry gave the Dodge brothers a 10% stake in his new firm. In 1902, the brothers were awarded a contract to manufacture transmissions for Ransom E. Olds' firm, Oldsmobile, on which they established a good reputation for quality and service. In 1903, they turned down a second contract from Oldsmobile to retool their facility to produce engines for the Ford Motor Company, which would be in debt to the brothers. The Dodge brothers quickly became significant shareholders in Ford Motor Company. When Henry Ford couldn't make cash payments, he gave them shares, and they became 10% shareholders of the firm. Because Ford couldn't keep up with demand, they hired them to make Model Ts and even modified some of the car's parts. John Dodge even rose to the position of vice president at Ford. However, the Dodge brothers eventually decided to break away from Ford and launch their firm. John and Horace Dodge founded the Dodge Brothers Motor Company in 1913, and by 1914 they had built and delivered their first automobile and 4-cylinder Dodge Model 3035 touring car. It was marketed as a little more premium rival to the ubiquitous Ford Model T, and it pioneered or made several standard innovations that are now taken for granted, like an all-steel bodywork. Other advances were 12-volt electrical systems, where 6-volt systems would remain the norm until the 1950s, 35-horsepower engines versus the Model T's 20 horsepower, and sliding gear gearbox. The best-selling Model T retained an antiquated planetary design until its demise in 1927. Dodge developed a Roadster in 1915, followed by winter automobiles with hardtops and side windows, and a center-door sedan the following year. Dodge launched an advertising campaign with the tagline, "It speaks for itself." In 1916, Dodge sold 150 automobiles to the United States Army, and the following year, it created a truck that would be used as a military ambulance. That vehicle concept resulted in the development of a commercial truck as well. "Someday, people who own a Ford will desire an automobile," John Dodge said. The Dodge brothers established a well-deserved reputation for producing high-quality trucks gearboxes, and motor parts for other successful vehicles. Their automobiles were rated second in United States sales as early as 1916. That same year, Henry Ford stopped paying stock dividends to finance the development of his new River Rouge complex. The Dodges launched a lawsuit to secure their annual payouts of almost $1 million, prompting Ford to buy out his owners. The Dodges received around $25 million. They had previously received dividends of $9,871,500 for a total return of $34,871,500 on their initial $10,000 investment. The Ford deal guaranteed them a comfortable retirement, but they never enjoyed it. When the brothers were in charge, John kept the firm running by dealing with suppliers, coordinating sales, advertising, and financing. Horace created the items as well as much of the machinery they used. He was in charge of manufacturing and plant layout. His domain was the shop floor. When John or Horace Dodge spoke about the firm, they generally stated, "My brother and I." They returned unread mail if the sender didn't address it to the Dodge brothers. They would not accept letters either sent to either of them as individuals or mail sent to Messrs. Dodge or to the Dodge factory, wrote Charles K. Hyde in The Dodge Brothers, The Men, the Motor Car, and the Legacy. They were inseparable companions and businessmen. The firm was adaptable enough to produce automobiles with either right or left-hand drive, which they marketed worldwide. During World War I, they avoided a downturn by supplying cars to the U.S. military and producing specialist parts for artillery weapons. Stories circulated of John crashing automobiles against walls or throwing tires off buildings to see how they rebounded. Other reports talked of drunken carousing and bar brawls. Whatever the rumors, the Dodges converted their skills of machine building into a massive enterprise that developed year after year. It was a Cinderella narrative that ended tragically in 1920 with the deaths of both brothers. The Dodge brothers faced their greatest struggle once the founders passed away, but the business was humming along quite well. The people in charge had worked for the Dodge brothers, shared their principles, and had contemporary amenities. The factory had expanded to 3.3 million square feet by 1920, and the firm produced 5 distinct models priced between $1,085 and $1,850. Additionally, they offered 2 different commercial vehicles and a chassis without a body. The 500,000th car that business produced was on July 1st, 1920. The factory had its 1 millionth automobile in December 1923, 9 years after it opened for business. A sturdier structure, more excellent seats, one-piece windshields, windshield wipers, and the inclusion of a heater were among the upgrades made after 1921. 60% of the original Dodge dealers were still offering the vehicles in 1925, which is a credit to the business. 90% of all Dodge Brother vehicles were still in operation a year later, the company said. The widows of the Dodge brothers placed the business up for sale in January 1925, since no family member could take over. Only GM and investment banker Dillon, Reed & Company's proposals were considered. With the support of a group of bankers, Dillon, Reed & Company prevailed with their all-cash offer. Of the 500,000 shares, they jointly owned or controlled 499,990. On May 1, 1925, investors handed a certified check for $146 million to complete the transaction. It was a staggering sum for a family-owned business that was just 11 years old. The brothers were the sole owners of the business, never took a loan from a bank, and were self-sufficient. At the same time, they had the humility to appoint dependable managers to assist them. They were prudent with money and had little interest in trading stocks, experimenting with debt, or using other financial gimmicks. Generating high-quality automobiles was their significant priority instead of making money. The secret to their success was simplicity. Many others still benefit from their recipe more than a century after their passing. If you loved this video, please like it and subscribe to this channel for more.